I mean, the book, The Double Shift, is organized 3 chapters, 3 what I call double shifts or pulling a double, right? I'm kind of playing off the language of, in American English, a double shift is working 2 shifts at work right on top of one another. But I kind of use the term to think about the way in which particular concepts are kind of pulling a double, working in 2 different areas at once around work. And so the first one is economic and political, right? That work is obviously it's economic, it's how things are produced, it's what sustains and makes possible capitalist exploitation, but it's also political and directly political, not just political in a sort of, in a base superstructure model would sort of rest on the economy. I'm trying to argue that the economy is immediately political in that work relations are always relations of hierarchy and command. They always have a politics built within them, and that politics, in some sense, the politics within the work relation help structure and determine the politics outside of the work relation as well. That a lot of what we see around the world in terms of, say, to take, for example, one commonality of right-wing movements across the globe is a strong anti-immigrant nativist tendency, and how that can be understood to be itself produced by insecurity and instability at work. So that work is always pulling a double. It's both political in its own structure, in that the workplace, and as I said, part of my interest in work is that work shapes how we make sense of the world. And given that we live in a world where our work structures are profoundly anti-democratic, profoundly hierarchical, that's going to shape to some extent how we make sense of and how we interact with politics. So work is immediately political, but work also pulls a double, and it has political effects. That part of what's happening in the workplace structures how political problems are considered salient and how we view politics. So the first double, and tied up with that is they almost kind of bleed into one another. The second double is the material and the mental, or the material and the ideal, in the sense that you can't really make sense of work's political nature of work without thinking about the way in which work always carries with it a representation of, or through our work relations, we deal with, I think, one of the fundamental problems of how we make sense of the world. And that problem is how we understand both commonality of we're all working, but also hierarchy.